Howdy guys, how's it going? So it is time to do the best slash favorite weapon out of the marksman rifle category. As I've been touching on, we've done the assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, and LMGs, and I almost forgot about this because I've been focusing on grinding out for some of those updated class setups, getting ready for the new Season 4. But since it's delayed, thought it'd be a great time to go ahead and touch on this. Now, I'll go ahead and start off by saying that the marksman rifles, they vary so much. There's just such a variation in how to play with certain ones, the strengths, the weaknesses. So unlike with the assault rifles and the SMGs and the shotguns and the LMGs, it's not necessarily a fair go of it to really pin each one against themselves. You kind of have to pair up certain ones. Like the Kar98K is more close to the MK2 carbine, the EBR-14 and the SKS are more closely related, and then the Crossbow, it's the black sheep. It's just standing out there on its own, doing its own thing. But we'll touch on each gun real quick, and I'll just kind of give you some pros and cons and all that good old stuff. But now the EBR-14, the most recent updated class setup that I've done for this thing turns this EBR into an absolute monster. Because I remember whenever I was working on my marksman rifles, I was really having an unpleasant time using the EBR for I don't know what it was at the time. I don't know if this gun, if it was nerfed, if it's been buffed recently. I really don't know, but all I know is if you're working on your marksman rifles and you own the EBR and you're just having any kind of negative experience, or you just want to mix it up a little bit, be sure to check out all the updated class set videos, because so far everybody that's been using them has been giving me great feedback and has really sped up their Damascus grind progression. But yeah, so its fire rate is relatively slow. But this thing, it still hits hard. You can two-shot people with it just like you can in the SKS. You can snag those one-shot headshots. But in comparison with the SKS definitely, without a doubt, brings home the gold medal. Because, you get a standard 20-round mag. Fire rate is a little bit better. I feel like the accuracy control's a lot better. There's a lot more options in terms of tricking it out, decking it out for mobility's sake. So, if you haven't already, definitely would recommend, messing around with the SKS. I don't remember, I know as much as I play this game, I should have these things just memorized, just burned in the back of my mind. But I can't remember if the SKS is one that you could unlock just by doing certain challenges, or if it was an actual battle pass weapon that you had to progress through and unlock. But either way, if you have it, definitely use it. I've got 4 different class setups for this, different variations with it, so check those out if you own that Damascus grind with these as well. Now we'll kind of hit on this old MK2 carbine, lever action rifle, and the Kar98K. So I'd say the Kar98K is probably one of the most used marksman rifles from what I can see, simply because you throw the sniper scope on it and it's one of the best quick scoping weapons in here. It plays as more or less as a sniper rifle. But there's also a lot of different things you can do to this to run it in some different setups. The iron sights on it are one of my favorites. I like the iron sights on all the marksman rifles, but just something about the car and the way that it, I don't know, just the way that it handles along with the iron sights that are on it feels great. It's got some pretty nifty blueprints as well. It's not really something I normally touch on with weapons in these videos because it doesn't really matter that much, but just for the record, it's got some decent looking blueprints. And I do say that I much prefer the Kar98K over the MK2 carbine. The MK2 carbine, it just seems, even when you throw in that 20-inch barrel and some of the other attachments, it's so inconsistent to me that it's just not enjoyable to use. And especially if you're pairing these two together against each other, the Kar98K, like I said, it's going to bring home the gold for sure between those two. And then, looking at the crossbow, after you unlock all the attachments for it, and you can get that 200-pound, 200-pound arm, and then you got your 28-strand cable. Once you get all that on there, and you push your velocity up to where your crossbow bolt gets to your target as quickly as possible, it's a force to be reckoned with. And I can tell you that, and that's guaranteed. If you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely check out the crossbow class setup video and just try running the crossbow yourself whenever you first got it. Still not the worst thing ever, especially if you're playing on a shorter range map like Shoot House. But, I mean, once you get that 28 strand cable and the 200-pound arms on there, I mean, you have no problem playing larger scale maps and knocking people down at longer ranges. But, I mean, other than that, there's not a whole lot to say about the Crossbow, just because it's its own standalone thing. Like, it really deserves to be in a special weapons category. I mean, I don't know what other things they would want to necessarily add to that, but I'd see why they put it in the Marksman Rifle section of the Marksman Rifle division, but like I said, it's its own beast. But now to the end of this, if I had to take and out of all 5 of these, you know, pin them up against one another and pick my favorite, it's got to be the SKS. Like, there's no way I could choose anything else. And if you've used all these, and once you have Damascus and stuff, and you come back and you touch on these Marksman rifles, and you've used variations and different setups on different maps, this, that, and the other, the SKS just, I don't know, it's got the, it's just got the most options. Like, it can just play in so many different ways. It's very consistent, unlike the EBR-14 isn't nearly as bad as the MK2 carbine when it comes to inconsistencies. But the SKS, like I said, just brings home gold. It looks good, especially once you throw Damascus on it. I mean, there's just not a whole lot of things you can't do with this. I mean, you can set it up to run as a fast-paced AR. You can take and put it in and set it up as a sniper variant. Like, so much stuff you can do, so many play options, and it's just, I don't know, it's a pleasure to use. But there you go, guys. I don't want this video to be too long. We only got the 5 Marksman rifles, and like I said, they're very different in a lot of ways. But then they share their similarities, like any of the weapon classes. But we'll be touching on the 3 snipers next time. I'm gonna be dropping a updated Bison PP19 class setup after this video, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in the Bison or any of the submachine guns. But yeah, guys, always appreciate you taking and watching the video. Be sure to hit me up in that comment section, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, share with your friends, and until the next one, adios.